Hey everybody, and welcome back to Chronicles of ORB. We are here. We're back. We're doing our thing this week once again. My name is Mike, and I will be your keeper this evening.
Yo, my name's Ray.
And who do you play?
Oh, I play Yuri Yamamoto, Superfly, Japanese guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we usually do character introductions.
And I'm Nick, and I play Agent Rogers.
And real quick, we want to say a little something up top here. Obviously, there's a lot of strife in the world right now. We see historic protests against police brutality and kind of the over-militarization of police and really police in general right now. And we feel it should go without saying, but we want to say it anyway. Black Lives Matter, obviously. We are in full support of the people who are protesting. And,
absolutely.
There's a problem in this country. It's gone on far too long.
Well said.
Yeah, I just want to let it be known that I stand with Mike and the Black Lives Matter movement.
The greater Manzari Bros organization as a whole. Yeah.
All right, so where we last left off was on a slightly less bleak note.
Hardly.
A werewolf had just broken into a home to slaughter a family.
Fucking great. We don't know that yet.
No, your characters do not know that, but we, the audience, know that. And
I'm sleeping soundly.
Yes, you two are currently at the ORB field headquarters located in the town of Essex, Connecticut. You guys are out there right now. You've been out there for a day now, and you headed back to the headquarters to kind of go over what information you'd gathered and get some rest. And you are both awoken by the loud, blaring clang of a klaxon. And as you jolt awake from your pretty average beddings here in the field headquarters, you see that there are red lights swirling throughout the building, and the alarm is going off. What do you do?
Yuri jolts upright, and he grabs his glasses, and I think he's just, looking around, seeing what other people do. He's definitely a follower.
I feel like Rogers kind of rolls over pretty slowly and swings his feet over the side of the bed, slips on his shoes, and kind of just hoists himself up and grabs his gear, gets ready to do whatever needs to get done.
Do we see people, evacuating? Is that, what's happening, or is it not that?
So you don't see people evacuating. You do hear a lot of movement from outside of this kind of barracks area that you're in. And as you head out into the hallway and towards where all this commotion is, you see that pretty much everybody who is on site has been woken up by this alarm, and the control operations area is alight with people. Most of the terminals are now filled. You see on some screens they're looking at maps. On some of them it looks like they have some kind of satellite feeds pulled up. Other ones look like they're maybe monitoring some kind of communications. And standing towards the back of the operations area, you see your friend and contact, Alex Lynn, who is just kind of looking over everything with a concerned look on her face. She's still currently in her pajamas, by the way.
Is there a way... I know, Mike, as keeper, you're, never gonna roll anything. But is there a way that I can have Nick do some kind of roll? Because Yuri just did something, and I want to see if anybody noticed.
Wait, what now?
Yeah.
Yuri just did what now?
Yuri just did something, and I want to see if anybody noticed.
Mr. Keeper, can he do that?
Let's see. So the regular monster of the week kind of rules don't really allow for contested checks like that. What I would be willing to do, though, I guess, if if you wanted to roll Yuri an act under pressure, and you could roll it against Roger's doing.
Why don't I like that idea of me rolling for it, so why don't I do an act under pressure, and then depending on how
actually,
good or bad I roll depends on how
think,
many people notice, because I feel like Alex might notice also.
Yeah, I think looking at it, actually, that is probably what would happen. It wouldn't be a contested roll. It's going to depend on how well you roll for act under pressure.
Okay, and that's plus cool, which I don't think I have any coolness. I have -1 cool. Fucking great. Why have I done this to myself? That is a 2 and a 3, -1. Yeah.
Oofa doofa. So you have failed big time.
Do I mark experience for that?
You do go ahead and mark experience, and then go ahead and tell us what you were trying to do.
So, Yuri, like mentioned before, has a fear of being trapped in a simulation. And so what that means is that when he wakes up, he has a series of things that he does to make sure that he has not been trapped in a simulation. So you notice him, first he takes his glasses off and he kind of like rubs the inside of one of the arms and he puts it back on his head. And then you see him, for lack of a better way to describe it, you see him take his tongue against like the back of his teeth and he does something there, which is kind of weird, and he like has to like screw up his face to do it. But then he seems like, you know, satisfied with whatever he just did there, and he's ready to like move on.
So you do that. I mean, that's nothing. I'm not gonna like, you know, you don't. It's not one of those things where like you, as you run your tongue over the back of your teeth, you accidentally push one out and take one harm. Like, I'm not gonna hit you with that. But I think Alex does notice as you guys are coming into the room, and she sees this kind of ritual that you do, and she just kind of inquisitively turns her head to the side a little bit. And that's it for now. So what do you do?
That's one mental harm.
What?
Oh, I said that's one mental harm.
Oh. No,
it's -1 self-confidence. Me, I just I smile at her like nothing happened. Like I'm very keen on moving past this moment at this point.
Right, so she smiles back and motions for you two to go over to her, because she is on the other side of a room right now.
Cool, I do that.
Yep. Walking on up.
All right, so
walking up.
The two of you walk over to Alex, and at this point, the alarm has stopped and the lighting has gone back to normal. But you see that on the large screen at the front of the operations room is in big red letters the word alert, and there's a bunch of data and pictures and just kind of incomprehensible, graphs and charts and things that are up on the screen. Alex is looking up at the screen and looks at the two of you as you approach and says, wow, this is really something, huh? I've never been on base when an alert happened before.
Yeah, this is wild. What happened?
From what I can tell, it looks like there was another attack. And it's about this time that you two notice, up on the screen in the front of the room there, that you also see a clock. And it is currently about 3:30 in the morning. So it's only been maybe 3 to 4 hours since you got back to the base. It's not the next day or anything yet. And what you also see pop up on the screen now is what looks to be a live feed from a camera inside of a home. And it's moving around, and you see it pans over a broken glass door in a kitchen, and then it swings back to the other side. There's things strewn about in the kitchen. It looks like it's a pretty big mess in there. and as whoever's holding this camera moves into the next room, there is just utter destruction in what looks like it used to be a family or living room. You see a mix of broken furniture and messed up walls and just blood and gore and guts smattering every surface. But you're not really going to be able to make out too much more detail from just a kind of video feed. Also, you notice that a couple of the people who are working some of the various terminals in this room, after seeing this image up on the screen, have to excuse themselves and look like they are hurriedly heading for the restroom. What do you do?
Is this live? Or do we have somebody on the scene? I mean, asking a character.
Alex says, "Yeah, it's not an orb agent, but when the police in town respond to something that they think might be related to kind of our line of work, they have a camera that they can do a live upload to us with. So that is maybe 5 or 10 seconds delayed, but that's about as close to live as you're gonna get. That's really something else." And you see that Alex actually looks a little pale herself.
Yeah, I don't think Yuri feels great about it. He's definitely not like looking long and hard on it.
Yeah, Rogers is kind of just rubbing his eyeballs and trying to wake up some more. He's not very phased right now.
I'm gonna turn to Rogers and say, "So you think we should head on over there?"
Yeah, 100%, kid.
All right, let's do it.
Alex looks at the two of you and says, "Yeah, I mean, I guess you guys are the field agents that are here right now, so I guess this is your job, huh?"
Unfortunately, yeah, seems like it.
Well, good luck. If you need anything, give me a call. I'll help out however I can.
Thanks.
And she turns and walks out of the control room back towards the one of the other areas with a kind of barracks set up. So you guys head upstairs. I assume you both got your gear and everything together when you got up there.
Maybe change out of my jams.
Yeah.
I had already grabbed it the first time. I knew where this. Rogers had a feeling.
Not Rogers' first alert, huh?
No.
I straight up thought it was a fire alarm, even though I knew it wasn't a fire alarm. Kind of still had the instinct of like, ooh.
So you guys, you get your stuff together and you head upstairs through the elevator. And as you walk out front, it occurs to you that neither one of you has seen Bill, your driver, and neither one of you contacted him, and yet he's sitting right there at the entrance to the building waiting for you to hop in the car. And it's not the same car he was driving before either, because you'll remember that one got all danged up by the creature. This is a brand new, shiny, spotless, standard issue ORB sedan.
Nice.
So, what are the chances, out of character here, what just between us bros, what are the chances that Bill hears an LMD?
A what?
LMD?
I don't know what that means.
No?
No. What does that mean?
Nobody?
What does it mean, man?
You need to explain.
I believe it stands for Life Model Decoy in the Marvel Universe.
Are you asking if he's like...
Is he a fucking
a
robot,
droid?
man?
Is he a droid?
Jesus Christ. Is he an android? Is he a goddamn...
I don't know, man. I mean, what I'll tell you is, Agent Rogers has known Bill Kaiser for, probably at least like a good 20 years now. And, I guess if Rogers was thinking about it, like, really hard one night, maybe after smoking one of those famous joints of his, he might start to question, does Bill really look much older now than he did when you met him? You think that he does. You're pretty sure his hair is a little bit more salt and peppery than it used to be. But he's got one of those young faces, And, I mean, who knows, man? Life's strange, isn't it?
Huh. Okay.
Huh. Okay, indeed. I'm satisfied with that for now.
We in the back seat.
So you guys hop in the car, and Bill says, "I assume we're headed to the scene of the crime, so to speak."
Yeah, where is that?
Yeah, Bill.
I just have an address.
What are the latitude and longitude coordinates on that one, Bill?
Well, Yuri, I'm not sure. Let me check with my mainframe uplink. And Bill stops for a minute. And
His eyes start scanning back and forth.
And then he says, "Aha, gotcha. That's a good one, isn't it?" And he puts the car into drive and drives off into the night. So it doesn't take you too long to get to the area where this happened. It's maybe a 10-minute ride from the ORB headquarters. It is on Evergreen Street in the kind of the heart of Essex, Connecticut here. And as you pull onto the street, you see that a large portion of it has been blocked off. There's large floodlights that have been placed up facing towards the house, and there's a flurry of police activity, as well as, an ambulance, fire, all that good stuff. What you would typically see at a kind of, disaster or crime scene.
For sure.
So Bill pulls you up to the kind of police line as close as he can, and he says, "I'll be here when you're done."
Cool.
What do you do?
I get out of the car. In the interest of rolling more than we have in previous episodes, I am going to take initiative right now and investigate a gosh darn mystery.
I love when people roll stuff, because when it goes poorly, that means I get to do things. So
yeah, but also in my defense, I've been listening to a lot of D&D run actual play podcasts, and the way that works is the DM will always ask for rolls, whereas in Monster of the Week it's usually the player's responsibility to be on that.
Right.
So, yeah, we're kicking it into high gear now, guys. That's a plus sharp. I got a 6 and a 3. Plus sharp is 2. So 9, 10, 11.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for investigate a mystery, huh?
Yeah.
So you get to hold 2 from that list. You can ask me any 2 of those questions. It doesn't have to be right now. You can do it, over kind of the course of this scene, or you can get them both out right at the top here. Whatever you want to do.
I'm gonna wait. Paint me a beautiful word picture.
Sure. So as you approach the police line, you see one of the sheriff's deputies that you had met earlier in the day. He looks pale as a ghost. And as you approach, he doesn't even ask to see your badges or anything. He just lifts the tape for you to come right on through. As you walk towards the house, you have this kind of surreal experience. Because aside from the fact that there's these large floodlights facing towards the front of the home, and all this emergency personnel activity, the home is idyllic. It is the picturesque American dream kind of house. It's a 2-story, mid-century colonial. It has beautiful white columns flanking the door on either side. It's got a wraparound porch that you can, just picture a family sitting on a breezy summer evening, drinking lemonade and sharing old stories. And a part of you has this weird cognitive dissonance, because you both know that when you step through the threshold of this home, what's going to greet you on the other side is just this brutal, absolutely monstrous display. Yet from the outside, it still just looks so perfect and crisp and clean. And you can't help but feel that that's a little bit kind of how this whole town is. And as you both approach the front entryway to the home, you actually see Sheriff Dawkins stepping out of the door of the house, and he puts a hand up to stop both of you in your tracks before you step through, and just says, "I've been a cop a long time, Marine before that, and I've seen brutal things. this is something else. And he takes his hat off and steps to the side on the porch, moving out of the way for you to go through the door. What do you do?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Now that was a fucking word picture. All right. I think Yuri is hesitating for sure.
Rogers walks in.
Okay, I'm a trail behind him.
So, Rogers, as you walk through the door, you realize pretty quickly that the entryway room here is not the room that you saw the live feed coming from. As you step into the house, you're in what is usually pretty traditionally referred to as like a mud room. It's not very large. There's a second door just beyond the one you just came in through. And that door is open, and you see that beyond that is kind of like a foyer entryway. It's got a large circular carpet. It has those really beautiful staircases that kind of go up on either side, almost like wings to a platform that then go and split off to the upper levels of the house. This is, it's not a mansion per se, but this is definitely a home that, you would expect kind of upper middle class or maybe even slightly wealthy people to own. There is a doorway to your left, and you're pretty sure that that's where the attack happened because you can see that there are several emergency folks kind of over in that room, and then there's another door to the right that is currently closed. What do you do?
Are there, like, shoes and coats and stuff in this room?
There are. So in that little entryway room, you actually see there are 4 pairs of shoes. There are 4 jackets. There are 4 hats. There are 4 pairs of gloves.
Thank you.
And on the wall opposite of all that clothing, actually, there are 4 umbrellas in 4 little umbrella stand holders, each a varying neon color.
And then there's a picture of the family.
Are there 4 beds?
And they
with,
have 3 children.
Softness and hardnesses.
Sorry?
What?
I said, are there 4 beds with different softness and hardnesses?
Well, I don't know. You guys would probably have to check out the upper level of the home to find something like that out.
Bowls of porridge that may be either too hot or too cold.
All right, let's
or
keep
some
going.
might say just right.
So other than cracking wise, what do you do?
I'm gonna go see what these boys on the scene can tell me, because they're medical guys.
I think Yuri is gonna like keep following and walking into the house. But he's definitely like got something over his face. Like the smell is definitely bothering him at this point. He's not long for this investigation. I'll tell you that much.
So that is actually something that you both notice as well. As you approach the room, before you even hit the threshold of the doorway, the smell of copper just fills your nose and your mouth. It's almost like you're sucking on pennies, and it is just overwhelming. And Rogers, you're very familiar. This is the telltale sign of large quantities of blood. Yuri, I don't know. I'm sure that in Yuri's hunting of a Bigfoot, there were probably times that he came across maybe like an animal torn apart,
sure,
or maybe even a person that was pretty seriously injured. But I doubt that Yuri has ever really experienced gore on this kind of extreme level before.
Nah, nothing like that.
So as you approach the room, Rogers, you said you wanted to speak with the medical technicians and stuff. You see a man. He's actually standing just in front of the doorway, actually blocking your view from most of whatever's going on inside that room. And it looks like he is probably the coroner. You're guessing that because he's wearing a police jacket that says coroner in bright yellow letters on the back of it. What do you do?
I'm gonna go over and ask Mr. Coroner some questions.
Okay.
So you walk towards the man in the coroner's jacket, and as you place your hand on his shoulder to get his attention, he turns around, and what you see is a relatively pale, although you're not sure if that's just his regular predisposition or if it's because of what he sees in the room. Taller, lanky kind of fellow. He's probably about the same height as you, Rogers, so you're probably about eye level with him. He looks like he's maybe in his late 20s, early 30s, and he's wearing a kind of red striped tie with a blue button-down shirt, and he's got a plastic kind of sleeve almost over that, underneath his coroner's jacket that he has on. And he sticks out his hand to you to shake it, and he says, "Oh, you must be the ORB agents, right? Lenny Smythe, Essex Coroner."
Nice to meet you, Lenny. Can you tell me, give me all the information you have, basically.
Well...
Introduce yourself.
What?
I said introduce yourself. Tell them your name. NPCs always get bent out of shape when you don't tell them their name. I'm just saying.
Boy.
I'm just saying.
All right. I'm Agent Rogers.
Pleasure to meet you, Agent. Thank you for introducing yourself to me like a regular human being would do to another human being.
I knew it!
What can you tell me about what happened here?
Well, I mean,
what do you know so far?
I don't know, man. And he kind of turns and motions for you to look through the door, and you do take a peek, and what you see is it is almost indescribable. Almost every visible surface of this room is just coated in some kind of blood or viscera. You see that there are what look like maybe pieces of a body, or maybe several bodies just strewn about, but they are hardly identifiable as human remains at this point.
Woof.
Woof indeed. And Lenny, he looks at you and he says, "Look, man, I've had this job for about 6 months now, and the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 have basically been absolutely hell. But this is I don't know what could do something like this. Whatever it was, if you head through the room to the back there, and he motions, there's a hallway across the gore-soaked room, and it he motions over there, and he says, if you head back that way, whatever came in through the kitchen. It shattered its way right through a plate glass sliding window. And I guess it must have gone back out that way too, because you came in the main door there. You can see there's no damage. There's no real. There's no blood. There'd be tracks of blood if he had come back that way. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
You're telling me there's no tracks of blood at all?
No, there's blood streaked all the way from here back through the kitchen and body parts as well. But I don't. It's hard to kind of tell where it starts and stops. It's definitely the worst in here. And he motions through the door again, and he says, my guess at this point would be whatever happened in here, and happened very quickly. And then I don't know. It almost looks like some kind of animal, but the marks in here are way too big for a coyote or a wolf or anything like that.
Yuri pokes around from behind Agent Rogers, and he sticks out his hand and he goes, Agent Yamamoto.
Yes.
Hi. Who called you? Like, who called the police? Who reported this?
Oh, well, when the back door shattered, the alarm system in the home went off. The police responded, I think it was maybe 7 minutes from the time that they got the call. But by the time they got here, whatever had happened was already over and done with.
Yeesh. Okay. Thanks.
So, what do you guys do?
I want to go check out the back door, and that's where I'm gonna use one of my questions from my very good boy roll. I'm gonna ask, where did it go?
Okay, so you guys you very carefully make your way through the viscera soaked room.
Awesome.
And as you're heading down this hallway, you see that indeed there is blood just kind of streaked at all over different surfaces heading back into the kitchen. As you walk down the hallway and into the kitchen, it opens up. There are several other kind of crime scene techs in here making notes of things, marking off evidence and putting those little numbers and stuff over pieces of glass. And even just looking at the scene, you can tell they're probably not going to be able to get much from this because, again, this room, just like the room you were in, just looks absolutely annihilated. There are huge gouges in various surfaces in the floor, the ceiling, the walls. Most of the windows in the kitchen are shattered, not just the plate glass door. And it almost just looks like a bomb went off or a tornado tore through here. And as you look at the back door, Yuri, you move towards it and you stick your head out through the broken glass a little bit and you look around and you can see that this home is in a subdivision. So there's lots of homes just like it. It's not they're not attached, but they're pretty close. And you can see that there is a pretty clear path where there is blood on the fence, which is also torn open, going through this backyard and 2 or 3 neighbors' backyards towards a tree line. And you are pretty sure that is where the creature went.
Okay. I kind of want to go check out that other house that it went through the backyard of.
Okay, so what do you just head towards the fence, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you head over and you kind of peek your head through the fence there. And from what you can tell, I mean, the lights are on in all of these houses now, obviously, with all this police activity on the street. Pretty much the whole neighborhood is woken up. But it doesn't look like there's been any damage to any of the other homes, just this kind of huge hole torn through the fencing a couple yards deep. And then just beyond the last hole, you can see the tree line.
Okay, so the house that got attacked, does it back up to the woods or anything?
No, it does not. It is smack in the center of the street.
Okay.
There are houses on any given side of it. Your best guess is that the thing that you guys think is a werewolf just kind of came tearing in from the woods there, and for whatever reason, once it got into the backyard of the home that you're in, just happened to go through there. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it.
I don't know if I believe you. What is being concealed here?
Oh shit, here we go.
Oh boy, that's really interesting.
It's the only other question on the list that I don't know the answer to.
I'm also gonna say Rogers followed Yuri and is
snooping around.
Yeah, at the back of the house, checking out the blood trail and whatnot.
So, Yuri, you are looking at this hole in the fence as it heads out towards the woods there. And you're looking around the backyard and you're kind of trying to piece things together. And then you realize something and you look up and you realize it is not a full moon. It's not even a half moon. It is an early stage of the moon cycle. Just a sliver of it is showing. And you look back around, and you see that on the edges of the fence, there is kind of torn bits of flesh and fur. And you take a closer look at that, and you take some precepts out of your pocket and a little evidence bag, and you're able to pluck kind of one of these little bits of fur and skin from the edge of the fence here, and you plop it into the bag. And as you're looking it over, you realize, and you're now thinking about the time that you saw this creature when it attacked you right outside the sheriff's station as well. You're realizing that this is definitely not a regular werewolf incident. Now, I realize you already knew that, but this is confirmation that something is very, very wrong. This skin, it looks wrong. It is dark, and the fur is matted, and even the flesh itself has taken on almost like a black coloring. And I mean black like the night sky black. And it doesn't look right. You've seen Bigfoots, you've seen werewolves, you've done the studying, you've been through the lectures, you've gone through Orb's training. You know what the kind of physiology of a lot of these cryptid type animals is, and this doesn't look like anything that you've seen before.
Does it look like the thing that I saw on the street?
Yes, yeah, it is definite. It is definitely a piece of the thing that attacked you, and it's very similar in a lot of ways to what you would see in like a werewolf, but there is something very, very, very wrong about this creature.
Did Agent Rogers ever tell Yuri that he's on a mission for some blood? Did that ever get brought up?
I believe so.
Okay, well,
if I remember correctly, I believe we talked about it.
Yeah, I believe you guys had that discussion heading towards the car, didn't you?
Yeah, I put the little piece of flesh and hair into the evidence bag, and I toss it at Agent Rogers, and I say, well, there's your excuse to get some blood out of that girl. DNA test, fool.
Smart thinking, kid.
That's what I'm
Smart
here for.
thinking.
That's what I'm here for. Alright, should we go try to talk to this?
Did you do both questions?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Do we want to talk to, like, some neighbors? See if anybody saw anything? Are these people even going to be any help? Are they going to know what they saw? What do you think we should do?
Oh, boy. Should I also just roll for investigative mystery?
You could do that.
So, Rogers.
Two separate things, depending?
Actually, but before you do anything, you start to hear a low-quality, kind of 8-bit tonal version of My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas playing.
Get out.
And
okay.
you realize very quickly that your cell phone is ringing.
How are you gonna make that character choice for him?
God damn it.
And when you take the phone out of your pocket, you see on the screen that it is a call from Duncan, Orb's resident wizard.
I was just thinking about him.
Can I say that is his personal ringtone? It's not like not my.
Oh yeah, that's
if
what
that's the case.
That's
if that's
just
the case,
Duncan's ringtone.
I'm currently shipping Agent Rogers and Duncan.
So it's actually funny. There's this weird thing that happens with Duncan, right? Anybody who has his phone number, when they put him into their phone, it doesn't matter if they don't have the sound file preloaded or if it even exists. That is Duncan's ringtone for everybody. He's pretty sure that somebody cursed him back when he was in mage school, with just something that would be really annoying for the rest of his life, and he can't figure it out. He's never been able to definitely nail down that somebody put a hex or a curse or something on him, but the rumor has it that he pissed somebody off back in the day, and they cursed him to this ringtone on everybody's phone. So yes, that whenever you hear that song playing, you are pretty sure that it is a call coming in from Duncan, no matter who's getting it.
This is great.
Damn.
This is great. Okay.
Do you answer the call?
Are you gonna pick it up, or are you like?
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
let it
of
rock?
course. Sorry, yes. Hello?
Rogers.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been doing a little bit of digging, and oh man, it's bad news. It's real bad news.
What do you mean?
So, you told me that you were dealing with what you thought was a werewolf in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
And it was just totally out of control. No sense at all, just absolutely berserk. Right?
Yeah, yes.
And you hear him shuffling some papers, and he goes, "Alright, I'm not... God damn it. I'm not really supposed to tell you this, but since you and the kid are in your field mission right now, and it's Yuri's first assignment, man, I don't want you to have the blood of another partner on your hands, Rogers." And he shuffles some more papers on his side of the phone, and he says, "There are reports in ORB's archive. They are highly, highly classified, and honestly, I'm not even sure that I was supposed to be able to find them. I'm pretty sure that these are supposed to not exist anymore. We, years and years ago, back in the 70s, when ORB was still pretty clandestine, we investigated a cult. It was down in New Mexico somewhere, and they had a guy that they were able to somehow force to turn into a chupacabra. And you know, we were baffled because we'd seen stuff before where, you know, forced transformations of people who carried the werewolf gene, or you know, even with vampires and stuff, sometimes there was, you know, magic that could be used to kind of control them or bind them to somebody else's will. But this was something different. As you know, with most animals or cryptids, or, you know, any kind of shifters really, usually a person can only sustain a shifted form for so long. There's some kind of rules or governing principles, even for just straight out shapeshifters. Usually they can't go more than a 24-hour period shifted as something else without at least a little time back in their own skin. We think that some kind of third party that was working with that cult might have found a way to force longer term transformations. That chupacabra that was forced down there, we ended up having to put him down. And man, he did not go easy. We lost 3 agents that night. And when we killed him, it wasn't like just killing some other creature or beast. He went like thermonuclear. There was one of the agents that died was just caught in the blast off of this thing's death. There's video footage of it, man, and I watched it. I've never seen anything like that, and that's, you know, coming from me, that's some serious shit.
Well, I appreciate the call, and do you think we're gonna need backup, or?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna head that way, but I gotta tell you, where are you right now?
We're in a house. We're at a house where an attack literally happened less than an hour ago.
Ah, Jesus. Fuck. And then you hear a bunch of slamming and cursing and things moving and being thrown on the other side of the phone. And Duncan says, "I'm on my way. I'll be there in a few hours."
Duncan.
Yeah.
Family of 4 eviscerated. You can't even tell they were human bodies.
Yeah, these things tend to escalate. Anytime something is being forced unnaturally to hold a shifted shape like that, it drives you crazy after a while. I mean, I the human mind is not meant for that. Imagine if you were turned into a dog tomorrow. How many days you think you could go before you completely lost your shit?
He doesn't answer.
Like I said, I'm on my way. I'll see you soon. And then you hear a click and the call ends. What do you do?
Was he on speaker?
Yeah, sure.
Cool, thanks. That helps. Ay.
Well, kid, what do you reckon?
Do you think there's anything else we can get from here, from this site?
Wait, from
this
site?
house? From this house. No, not the site. From this site. From this place.
Oh. Because I was like, I don't know what happens if I try using that right now
Yeah,
without
no,
this girl's blood.
I don't think you're supposed to.
I don't know what happens.
But I think we should maybe get over there. I mean, it is 3 a.m. Can we time jump?
Get over where?
To the Bryanses? Get over there, get some blood, get some video evidence.
Out of character, if we go over there tonight, there's no way any of that happens. We are gonna fail. And, I don't know how much more we can do tonight unless we go chasing this thing down into the woods. And, I don't know how prepared we are for something like that.
No, we definitely aren't. Even Yuri, who's, wanted to track it hard the first time it showed its beautiful little face, he's not eager to go follow this thing into the woods in the middle of the night right now. So I think either we try to go
Are we allowed to go back and go to sleep till the morning till we can do more? Is that an option?
I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. It's your world. They're your characters. Make your decisions. It's whatever you...
Well, I don't know. If we go back to the ORB headquarters and we're like, all right, we're done. We're heading back to sleep. Y'all man the monitors. We'll continue in the morning.
I think we could say something like we stayed at the house and we kept looking around and helping however we could, but that's not very interesting for a podcast, so we're going to time jump to later in the day, into the morning, when we go to the Bryanses.
Okay.
Is that fair?
So you two take some time and you do a cursory investigation of the rest of the house. You check out the upper floors. There are 4 beds. One of them is in a guest room, though, because the mom and dad did still sleep in the same bed. And they are of varying firmness, you do notice.
Hey.
And you look around, and it really just seems as though this was just kind of a very picturesque family. There was a son and a daughter, and a mother and a father. And in all of their pictures, they look pretty happy. The son's room is decorated with all kinds of sci-fi and fantasy memorabilia and posters.
Nothing was touched up there, right? It's all pretty untouched.
Oh yeah, it doesn't look like anything happened in any other part of the house except for the kitchen, that hallway, and the room where the attack itself took place.
So literally, tore into the house, direct line to human bodies, and then, just death.
Why were they all huddled in the living room, though?
What? They were probably just having a family hangout or whatever.
At 2 a.m?
I mean, who knows?
Who knows, man?
Who
knows?
And you don't find anything else in the house that's substantial. You head back into town and you stop at the local diner and you grab a couple cups of coffee and some Danishes, and you spend some time going over your case notes so far, just trying to see if you can find any patterns or any other pieces of information that might have eluded you. And it's about 7 o'clock in the morning when you decide to head back over to the Bryans' residence. As you pull up, Bill brings the car to a gentle stop, and you hop out and you head towards the door, and before you can even knock, actually, the door swings open, and you see Mrs. Bryan is standing in the door, and she looks very tired, and she says, about what happened last night.
Please tell me you have video evidence of the night that your husband went missing.
Her eyes go real wide for a second, and then she says, "What does that have to do with the tragedy from yesterday? I don't."
Hopefully nothing, but it would really help us out. That's honestly why we came here, unrelated to what happened last night. We were planning on coming here early in the morning anyway when we thought of it. Yeah, if I have to roll something, I'll do that.
Yeah, I think
Manipulate?
you just came in real hot, real hard, like right at the front door.
Hey, he has he's on no sleep. He's fucking wired. Yuri doesn't usually drink caffeine, but the waitress at the diner gave him caffeinated coffee. It's a whole thing.
All right, well, I think you're gonna have to go ahead and roll manipulate somebody for me then.
Yeah, I figured. I think I have that thing where I can use plus weird. No, I use plus sharp instead of plus charm when I manipulate somebody.
All right, go ahead.
Oofa doofa. Hold on.
Did it not go well for you?
It's a 3 plus 2. Nick, you want to help out? You want to help a brother out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Do I just also roll to manipulate someone?
No, I think you roll help out.
Oh. Duh.
Plus cool.
Yeah, I think help out though can't that only give you a +1?
Oh.
Oh no.
If they get a plus 12, it
so you
really
have,
does some good.
Yeah, you kind of have to roll 12 plus here if you want to roll help out.
Do it. How cool are you?
0.
Jesus fuck.
All right, so it's a straight dice roll.
Oh.
Wait, what's manipulate someone though? Is that charm?
No, we're doing help out.
For help out, you roll plus cool.
Okay, great. But like, what if I don't want to roll help out? What if I want to just manipulate? What if I want to try to do my own thing?
We could do that
Yuri
after.
Suffer his shitty roll
we've built the tension. Roll your dice.
We're never gonna get anywhere in this.
Not with that attitude.
It is double 5s.
Hey.
10 plus, so that gives them +1 on the roll. So Yuri, that is still a failed roll for you. And
wait,
so
that was a 3 plus what? I don't remember.
2
plus. Yeah, it was a 5 plus 1.
Plus
so now
1.
I'm sitting at a 6.
Yeah, so that is still a failed roll.
Oh man.
So go ahead and mark experience, and then what happens though is initially she immediately starts to say, I don't. You have a lot of nerve just trying to show up here, asking for videotape from the. Who do you think you are? And then from behind her, coming down the stairs, Heather.
God damn it.
Heather.
No, wasn't her name Paulina?
I don't know her real name. I just know her by Heather.
Yeah, so Paulina comes down the stairs behind her mother and says, Mom, show them the tape. What are you seriously? There's more attacks happening and you're more worried about what, like, really? For real. And her mom kind of steps aside a little defeated. And what's happened here is because you made an ally of Paulina the last time that you were here, she is helping you out in this situation. And she's gonna make sure that you get to see those tapes. So she kind of ushers you inside, and she walks to a hall closet that she opens up, and you can see that inside that closet is a bunch of monitors and electronic equipment that you assume is for the security systems throughout the house. And she says, here's the playback from the night that my dad went missing, and she has it pulled up on the screen there, ready for you to hit play. What do you guys do?
Heather, I genuinely can't thank you enough. And then I hit play.
All right. So you two are looking at the screen, and
and then I hit pause. Heather, After this, I'm gonna need to talk to you about getting a blood sample to do a DNA test because we found some tissue, fur, and stuff that we want to run against your DNA to see if they match.
Paulina's mother, Helen, says, absolutely under no circumstances will you... And then Paulina literally puts her hand up and snaps it shut. And her mom stops, just mouth agape. She can't believe her daughter's just done that. And says, I'm an adult. If they need a sample of my blood, I'm happy to give it to them. And Helen just looks absolutely, utterly defeated.
Solved our bitchy suburban mom puzzle.
So, you hit play on the video now?
Yes.
Okay.
The video starts to play, and you notice that the date is the night that Gerald went missing, and the timestamp has it set right around 7:50. And you see that Gerald is sitting in the kitchen, and he's looking at kind of a ledger book or something, and he's not alone, actually. There is a woman sitting in the kitchen with him. She has her back to the camera. You can't make out any real details, because she appears to be wearing a large, kind of maybe hooded sweatshirt and a dress. It's hard to tell from the angle that the camera's watching. But you see that she has kind of a dark auburn hair. And he is looking through kind of these ledgers and flipping through some stuff and looking back at the computer. And they appear to be chatting, and some time goes by, and she gets up and walks towards him, and she puts her hand on his shoulder. She walks behind his chair, but you notice that as she goes behind his chair, she should be facing the camera. However, in the place where there should be a face, there is some kind of distortion on the video, and it's the only spot on the video where that's happening. But it is very clear that this woman, whoever she is, took some kind of measures to ensure that her face would not be captured on this camera. And she kind of slides her hand down Gerald's chest in a very sexual and suggestive way. And you see that he turns towards her, and they start just absolutely macking face. As you're watching this, Helen just kind of has her back to the wall and is now slumped down and is sobbing a little bit into her hands. And the woman kind of pulls back a little bit from Gerald, and you see she reaches behind her back, and you can't see her face, so you're not sure what's happening, but Gerald is now looking at her and looks very, very concerned. And she pulls from behind her back some kind of knife, and Gerald is looking very scared now, but it seems like for some reason he's unable to move anything below his neck. He can turn his head, but the rest of his body doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. And you can see that Gerald is now frantically shouting, and he's yelling something. You can't make out what it is. There's no audio on this video. And then the woman plunges the dagger towards Gerald, and there is a blinding white flash of light. And when the screen comes back into focus after the light fades, the scene looks untouched, as if nothing had happened. There's no damage, there's no marks. Even the chair that Gerald was sitting in has been pushed back into the table. And it is just as if nothing had happened. And Helen is just weeping deeply into her cupped hands now. And Paulina is looking at you kind of dryly and says, yeah, so that happened.
Okay. Yuri is gonna go kneel down next to Mom and kind of like put an assuring hand on her shoulder and be like, I'm really sorry. Obviously, we didn't know. But I'm assuming that this isn't the first time you're seeing this.
She is just sobbing uncontrollably. She doesn't respond.
I look up at Heather. I'm assuming you've seen this before?
She nods her head, yes.
And do either of you know who this woman is?
Helen just starts sobbing even heavier, which you didn't think was possible. And Paulina just shakes her head no. And you can tell that neither one of them has any idea who that was.
I'm kind of mad. Like, I'm kind of angry about it. Like, this is a huge part of the story that both of these women knew about and, like, failed to mention yesterday, or failed to mention to police that you straight up watched your husband get kidnapped.
I think Paulina kind of senses.
We could assume a little more than kidnapped at this point.
I think Paulina kind of senses that you're upset, and she says, "Look, I didn't say anything because, I mean, look, you saw the video. Nobody would believe us. They would think that was, I don't know, Photoshop or editing or something."
We're from ORB.
Yeah, but you say that like we're supposed to know all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I've always still thought that stuff was mostly fairy tales and ghost stories. Like, this is the first time any of us have ever dealt with anything like this at all.
All right, fair.
And besides, I'm telling you now, aren't I?
You are. I do appreciate it. That can't go unsaid. It helps.
And she turns to you, Rogers, and says, "You needed my blood?" And she puts out her hand, like, waiting for you to give her a tube or something.
I assume we have some kind of blood drawing kit of some sort.
Or either of us, like, do we know how to get that done? Like
you could do, like, a finger prick or something. You don't gotta go, like, looking for veins or anything.
Alright, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so you
no.
How much blood does he want?
I don't know. It's better safe than sorry.
And I kind of also do want to do a DNA test on top of it. I feel like that's
exactly. So we need a healthy amount.
Make her go sit down and chug a gallon of orange juice.
Well, so as it happens, actually, Rogers. You are familiar with the fact that Bill Kaiser, your friend and driver, also happens to be a trained EMT.
Of course he is. Go get that fool.
He's $1 million man. Because it was $1 million to build him.
So you grab Bill from the car, and he grabs his EMT kit out of the trunk, and he comes inside and he says,
"No. Before that, Bill."
Okay.
Bill.
Yes?
Listen, Bill. We both know some shit about me at this point.
Oh, you're talking about your big, spooky, dark secret?
Yeah. And I just want to say that we still have that thing where there's no questions asked between us, yeah?
We've all got our stuff, Rogers. And he slams the trunk shut and starts walking towards the house with the medical bag.
Now, why would you go and do that when we have, like, a good reason for wanting some blood?
What? No, I wasn't even done.
He just starts walking towards the house. You have a chance to speak to him as you head up the
Yeah, I know.
walkway
I'm
there.
gonna just walk with him, and I'm gonna be like, "Listen, Bill, I need more blood than you'd take for a normal DNA test."
Ah, a little blood sacrifice.
I guess.
Actually, yeah, literally, yes.
And Bill smiles and shakes his head a little bit and says, "Oh, Rogers, you're such a kook. 2 vials it is, then." And he heads inside, and Priscilla is sitting down now at the kitchen table, and
Wait, what's her fucking name?
The mom?
the mom's Priscilla?
No, I'm sorry, Paulina. Paulina, the daughter, is sitting at the kitchen table, and Helen is still just sobbing on the floor.
Jesus fucking Christ! I guess I'm still with her. I probably wouldn't have left her.
We broke her.
And Paulina she has her sleeve rolled up and out ready for Bill to do his work. And he sits down and says, "This won't take but a moment." And he takes out of his bag the things he needs to do a blood draw. He draws 2 vials of blood, and he says, "And just like that, we're done." And he takes the kind of wrapping and stuff off of her arm. He slaps a bandage on the spot where he used the needle. And he says, "Now make sure you have a healthy breakfast. And, try not to get attacked by a werewolf, okay?" And he picks up his bag and heads back out to the car. What do you do?
Good old Bill.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's weird.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, he's weird. He's just got, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, do you guys think you're gonna find my dad?
I stand up and I walk into the kitchen. So I'm in there now.
Why? What?
Because I was chilling with the mommy, but I just heard her. I just heard her ask that. So
okay, I gotcha.
Now my reassurance is needed elsewhere. Are you gonna say anything to this kid, or do I have to?
What? I thought we were both in there originally. So
oh my god!
That's why I was so confused when you said I'm gonna walk into the kitchen. I was like, wait, what? Okay. Kid, you've been pretty straightforward with us so far, so I feel it's only right to be pretty straightforward with you. I think we already have.
She doesn't say anything.
You got anything to add to that?
No. What else can I say right now?
Okay. All right. Well, Yuri he's gonna assume, Yuri positioning for comfort, and he goes, God, what's her name? Heather. Listen, Heather, I promise I will do everything in my power to not only find your dad, but to bring him home in one piece.
She looks at you, Yuri, and she locks eyes with you. And for just a moment, this isn't something that you've really experienced before. There's this very strange moment of connection when you lock eyes. It's more than just looking into another person's eyes. When you look into Paulina's eyes, you see that there's something more there. And you're not sure what it is, and you're pretty sure that she isn't sure what it is either. But she nods to you and says, "I hope you do, Agent. I really hope you do." And I think that is where we're probably going to call it for this evening.
Sweet.
So, thank you for joining us again this week on Bros at the Board, Chronicles of ORB. You can check us out on Twitter at BATBcast1. We don't really have too much stuff up on there yet, but I promise there is some content coming. And we will be back in about 2 weeks with another hot and fresh episode for you.
666.
Also check us out on the Manzari Bros Gaming YouTube channel. And as well as our other podcast, MBcast.
And if we weren't doing enough podcasts already, I also just started recording one for the magazine that I work at that's called Out Front, and then we're doing a podcast now. It's a nice short, around 30-minute podcast that we're going to be putting out like every couple of months, and that is called Outcasts. So keep your eyeballs out for that too.